Hello everybody, welcome to Flashing Arrows, the show where I cook, drink whiskey, and talk psychology. I just pulled out these chicharron burnt ends that I'm about to try. I am tossing this oil, a little too cursory, back into this pot, out of this pan. But I wanted to share with you, so I just shot a video, this will be piggybacking off of that, about how you can change the meaning. It's very existential. I really pride myself on identifying as an existential psychotherapist, but that's home base for me. But the key point is meaning, meaning, freedom, responsibility, and death. And there's tons of holes you can poke into existential philosophy. Won't go there right now, but psychologically that is. But this one concept that was a big, that was put forth by a fellow named Viktor Frankl. He wrote the book, totally worth the read. You can knock it out in an afternoon. Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl, he survived Auschwitz. He's a Jewish psychiatrist. And yeah, phenomenal read. And he told this story of, so like the old video I just shot was about how do you can't fix what already happened, so what do you do with it? Well, like a lot of guys will say, just figure it out, get along with it. But I mean, this happens in relationship issues where like a woman will say, well, how do I know I can trust you? And he's like, well, because well, the point being it's over and done with, so let's move forward. But like, how do I know? Like there's a whole thing about what do we do with the past? What do we do with the past that's already happened? And in relationships, you need to really have a good enough explanation for what happened. You need to have enough meaning, high quality meaning to assign to what you've been through and what just happened. So here's a great example of how to fix something that's already happened. So there's a guy who goes into Viktor Frankl's office. Don't even care if it's a true story, it's a great story. It usually makes me cry when I talk about it. A guy goes into Viktor Frankl's office, puts his hat on the coat rack, says, "Doctor, my wife just passed away, and I'm beset with grief. I'm so sad, I'm upset, and what do I do?" And the doctor says, "Well, how would she have reacted if you died first?" And he's like, "Oh, she'd feel the same way. She'd feel upset. She'd be beset with grief. She wouldn't know what to do with herself." And the doctor says, "Consider this the gift you've given her to allow her to die first, so you can deal with the suffering instead of her." And the guy stands up, puts on his hat, and heads out the door. Because what better? That'll be $800. But like, what better response could you give somebody? What better response that's soulful and adds meaning to your suffering? It's the best thing we can do with our suffering is add meaning to it. And so, as a deeply existential concept, and Carl Jung piggybacks right off on top of that with the only discernible meaning for humans' existence is to purpose for human existence, to kindle meaning in the darkness of being. Or I butchered that a little bit, but it's something to the tune of like, let's do some meaning making here. And so it's, yeah, deeply existential stuff. So piggybacking up my last video, we'll call this part 2. Thanks everyone for tuning in.